everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So I'm going to record a podcast episode as I am recording this live, and then I'm going to update or upload the live to YouTube. So give me 1 second. All right, welcome and welcome back to Embodied Living with Christy. I am recording this also as an Instagram live that I will upload to my YouTube. So just trying some different things. I am also partially recording this so that I can connect in a little bit more of a face-to-face way with my new friends on this new social media platform called Unified. I like to talk. I like to be able to show kind of my personality. And there is no, as far as I know, there's no like live video or anything like that that's available right now on Unified because it's just in its very beginning days. So there's a few things going on today. There's a few reasons I'm here. I welcome you if you're new to the podcast. I'm very grateful and very happy that you are here and that you're listening. If you are a longtime listener, welcome back. Again, I'm very grateful that you're here and that you're still listening, because if you've listened from the very beginning, you will know that this podcast has shifted a little bit, and it's a little bit less now about me talking about myself and my experiences, and there's a little bit more, there is still that, but there's a little bit more just of me doing more sort of teaching type, just based on my own experiences and sharing tools and things that you guys can use yourself. So my nose is really itchy today. So as I'm on video, I'm scratching my nose. Let's dive in. So I know, for the podcast, I took a little bit of an unintentional break. I uploaded a new episode the other day, yesterday or the day before. Honestly, when I'm recording, I generally kind of leave my body. I don't even really remember what that episode was about. Old programming. Now that I'm talking about it, it popped into my mind. And today I want to talk about self-worth. And I want to say that I've done an episode on self-worth or on like wound work not all that long ago. So I'm here to talk about the self-worth wound that I have. It's one of my core wounds. And I was working through a little bit of this, not last night, but the night before. I was presented with a situation, quote unquote, or an opportunity to be who I want to be, to embody the energy that I want to be in this world, and to level up, essentially, just within my own energy fields and within my own body, within my own daily life even. So I joined this new social media platform called Unified. If you are here listening from Unified, I'm happy you're here. Or if you're watching the video and you're from Unified, I'm happy you're here. And it has been wonderful. I talked a little bit about it the other day in my Instagram live. I started crying about it because I feel, for me personally, it has been such a blessing. I have been so grateful because, as I said the other day, I feel like I finally fit in. Not that I need to fit in, but it's really nice and it feels so good for my soul to at least online be surrounded by people who believe a lot of the same things as I do and who are very interested in change and consciousness and all these different things. So it has been amazing. It's been wonderful. Now, I talked about that on Instagram Live during the day a couple days ago, and then that same night I had my first kerfuffle, maybe whatever you want to call it, with someone on Unified. So the reason I bring this up is not to call this person out. It's not to complain. It's not to rant or vent or anything like that, because I've worked through it. I've done the work, but I'm here and I'm going to read the comments back and forth between us. I'm going to read them out so you can get a feel for what that was, and then I can get into talking about how this really triggered and pinged my own self-worth wound. And a lot of the work that I have been doing for what feels like years and years and years, well, I have been doing it for years and years and years, is all about like money and lack mindset. And one other core wound that I have is poverty consciousness. And so that has been a topic for me that I personally have been working on for a while. And that's what this ended up being all about. Funny how that works out, right? So when I first joined the app, or it's not an app yet, but when I first joined this platform, so 4 days ago, which would have been like, this was maybe Monday or Tuesday, my first or second day on Unified, I posted just about the work that I do, energy system regulator for the vibration of humans and animals. And this is the work I do. It's very quantum. It's very energy based. And we're doing a lot of work on the unseen level. So very, very far beyond and very much more deep than just the physical. And that's what energy work is, right? You're going beyond just the physical body. So I talked about that. I was talking about how I work in close connection with animals, and I essentially bring their energy into me. And it's almost like it's like if I was a translator, right? If I'm translating something from French to English, I'm that kind of middle ground, right? I'm that middle person. And so energy system regulator, what I'm doing is I'm tapping into, and I am connecting in with the very grounded and very already regulated energy of animals. I take that and I translate that to the person or the client or even the animal or the pet that I'm working with, to balance your energy, to release stuck energy. Anyway, so I talked about all of that, and I did a little post, and I posted a photo of a donkey because I personally love donkeys, and it's just a visual representation of the animals the work that I do with animals. So anyway, all that aside, I had someone comment and he said, "Can you do a reading on me?" And I replied back and I said, "Hey, you can check out all of my offerings." I linked my website. I said, "We can get in touch if you want to book something." So he went and looked at everything, and this was his reply. And again, I'm not trying to call him out. I'm not in a space of, being upset about this or anything, but I just want to give you the back and forth, and then I'll get into talking about how this really triggered that self-worth wound and that poverty consciousness wound as well for me. So he said, "Wow, you see, the thing is, I don't know you. I've served in about every kind of ministry you can think of, and I've seen more fakes than anything real. I must be old school because in 24 years, I never charged anyone for anything. You'd have to convince me of your gift before I would ever commit to paying for it. It's like this platform. Lots boast about how great it is, and yet it's only people hustling. Very disappointed in this platform that I thought was to unify people and be separate from the world by showing love and compassion. Live and learn," with the little shrug emoji like that. So I read that, and in the moment I got a little bit fired up because that was just my reaction within my body. My nervous system went into fight, flight, or freeze, and I just kind of started to get a little bit worked up. Now, this is something that I'm practicing for myself, and I have been practicing this for myself for a long time now, is even when I get worked up, is to not react to someone, but rather take a moment for myself and to respond. So this was my response. I said, "Okay," with a little smiley face emoji, "I'm not going to try to convince you of anything." So that was my response, because it's not my job or my responsibility to prove or to convince anyone of anything. This is why I want to show up more in videos and offer group healings and things like that, so that you can come and see how I work. You can come and see the healing that I offer. You can hear me talk. You can see that I am a real person. I'm not a fake. That pinged me a little bit as well. Was, essentially he was worried that I was fake or a fraud, which I completely understand. If he's had experiences in the past where, maybe he's paid for something and the person ended up just kind of scamming him or whatever. I don't know his personal, history or experiences, but I understand where he was coming from. I don't, because somebody doesn't know me, I don't expect them necessarily to book a session with me. But if you see me, if you're seeing my offerings, if you're seeing the things I share, the things I post, I do offer a lot of free content in form of my podcast and just sharing my own personal experiences. I do lots of free healings on Zoom. You're going to know whether or not you vibe with me. And if you vibe with me and you really resonate with me, you're going to be willing to pay for a reading. So anyway, I said, okay, I'm not going to try to convince you of anything. And left it at that. That's all I said. So he commented back, I once worked with a Vietnam vet who was labeled with every disorder you could imagine. He was 21 years in VA psychiatric care. He had 4 psychiatrists who kept him on all sorts of medications. I told him the same thing. I can help you. His reply was, I doubt it. It took almost 3 years of me working with him, but today he has no psychiatric disorders and is under no one's care. When I started, the only help I was given from above was the instruction to just love him unconditionally. If we are to evolve into a 4th density being, then love must be practiced, which is free, free, free. Some days I feel like the most liberated person on the planet. Thank you for reminding me that I'm on the right path. So that was his response. I wasn't really sure kind of how to take that, especially at the end, when he said, thank you for reminding me that I'm on the right path. I don't know. So that was his reply. And I just replied with a thumbs up because I had no interest in getting into a huge, big kind of back and forth. I was still a little bit worked up at this point. My nervous system was still going crazy. And so I just did a thumbs up, and not even meaning it sarcastically or in a snarky way. That was my response. And then he replied back and he said, I wonder how you get paid from an animal. I guess they are more valuable than a human. And I replied, if you don't resonate with me or what I share, you're welcome to unfriend or block me. If you don't charge for your services, that's your prerogative and your journey. Not everyone is going to choose to do the same. That was my response. Now, my sister's on this platform as well, and she commented, if you don't like what she posts, you don't have to engage with it. Just scroll past, no need for the negativity. Then he replied to her, if you are so weak in understanding who you are, then you need to do more work on yourself. I'm not moved or influenced by what you call negativity. Truth is the only friend I have, so if anyone wants to hide behind some self-worth by charging a monetary gain, then truth is what will expose it. It becomes very clear when a person is questioned about an ability and they respond with trying to degrade the person questioning that they are a fraud. I think the picture of an ass, the donkey photo that I posted, shows the character of the person wanting to charge $150 per hour. So then I was really fired up. Okay, because I understand where this guy was coming from to a certain extent or to a certain point. But I don't appreciate, my character being called into question. Like my sister had commented to him, you can just move on. I wasn't trying to convince him to book a reading or a session with me or anything like that. So I replied back, in what way did I degrade you? I know who I am, and my self-worth is not dependent on your opinion, nor is it my responsibility to convince you of anything or prove myself to you. If you think I'm a fraud and an ass, that's your point of view. My time and energy is valuable, and that's why I charge for my services. And then he said, that's what Jesus said. pay me now or move on. And then he put the shrug emoji again. Okay, so that was that. On this platform, I don't see anywhere where you can just block someone. I generally try to give people like a chance, an opportunity. I even if my body and my mind kind of goes into that reaction mode, I try to remain calm, and have an honest and open back and forth with people, because I understand that everyone has different truths, right? So if he doesn't want to charge for his services, that's, as I said to him, that's his prerogative. That's up to him. I, however, have done a lot of work on myself. I used to give away things for free or for a very little price, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But in my own personal experience, when that happens, or when I'm doing that, people tend to not invest their own kind of energy into a session or whatever, I may be offering. And that's fine too. So this is this is my experience. This is my perception and my perspective. And now I want to get into talking a little bit, now that I've given you the back and forth of that. So anyway, after that, I was kind of talking with my sister at the same time, and I was venting a little bit to her, just to, release those emotions and not have that suppressed within me. And then I went and had a shower before bed. I just washed all that energy off of me. And I reminded myself, I don't know what his experiences have been. Again, as I mentioned earlier, maybe he has had an experience or multiple experiences where he has been maybe duped or scammed or whatever the case may be. And I also reminded myself, because this is something that I know already, but I reminded myself, everyone has a different truth, right? And there's not only one truth out there. So for him, his truth, what feels good for him, on the surface anyway, is to not charge for his services. Again, I've done that, and I'm past that. So getting in now to kind of how this played out is, not only did this ping my self-worth wound, my poverty consciousness wound, this also just pinged something within me where, as I said earlier, I really didn't appreciate having my character questioned. Like, I don't know if I would say he was attacking me, but, that really just made me feel icky and gross. And I think that would make anyone feel not very good if someone is, questioning if you're a fraud or not, and someone essentially calls you an ass, right? Like he said, I think the picture of an ass shows the character of the person wanting to charge $150 per hour, which I laugh about it now, thank goodness. But anyway, I go into this like kind of spin, or into this like spiral, where your mind starts going crazy because your nervous system has been kicked into that sympathetic state where it's that fight, flight, or freeze reaction, right? And so that's where I was. And so my energy level was just like really amped up and really like fired up. I was fuming for a little bit, then I calmed down, and then I'd see he commented again, right? That kind of back and forth. And so I was trying to stay grounded throughout, and stay calm and stay in that mode of responding instead of just reacting and maybe going off on him, which that's not generally something I do anyway, even if I am fired up. But I really, what was actually happening beneath the surface, and I said this to my sister as we were talking back and forth, kind of as this was going on, I said, oh, well, it's a good test for my self-worth. And I've talked to you guys before on the podcast about tests, and tests are opportunities for you to show and to be the person you say you are, or the person you have been working to be. So again, I've been working on this self-worth wound. I've been working on this poverty consciousness wound. And if I were to, maybe rush off and change my prices, for example, or if I were to then turn around and say, okay, yeah, sure, I will offer you a free reading, that is not me being in alignment with who I have been working to be and the person and the energy that I want to embody. Because my time and my energy is valuable, and it's taken me a lot even to get to the point of charging what I do charge for sessions, because I have gone through the rigmarole. I can see the word in my mind, but it's not coming out my mouth properly. Rigmarole, I think that's the word. Anyway, I've gone through all of that of, really working on that self-worth in terms of, is this work I do even real? Is it really doing anything for people? Is it really helping them? Is it really making a difference? And I've had so much back and forth within myself of the work that I offer and my abilities. And that's partly my ego. That's partly my wounds that speak up from the background, right? Where it's just like, are you sure? Are you sure this is worth this much money? Blah, 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 right? It just goes on and on and on. And so, yeah, it's taken me a while to get here. And I'm not quite there yet where I want to be and in that energy and in that flow of how I would love to have my practice and my business be, but I'm getting there. So anyway, this situation was a perfect example of how these things show up, not only to test you, but kind of like in conjunction or in connection with testing you. These things are a reflection of what might still be within you that's kind of still brewing under the surface a little bit. So by someone, accusing me of being a fraud, well, I have had thoughts in the past where I'm like, I am a fraud, or I have had those imposter syndrome moments, right? So that's a reflection of maybe, I still do feel like that sometimes, but for the most part, I'm out of that. Or, someone questioning why I'm charging for my services. That's reflecting a certain layer or a certain something that's still within me that gives me the opportunity now to go in and dive in and work on that layer. And number one, by being aware in the moment as that was happening, that, okay, this is a test of my own self-worth and how I view that and how I embody that and the frequency of where I'm at with that. So having that awareness, as you guys who have listened to the podcast, that that's one of the most important things when you're doing this work. And again, this is a perfect example of what, quote unquote, doing the work looks like in daily life, right? Because you guys have the tools, you have the action steps, journaling helps, meditation helps, right? All of those different things are wonderful, but it's in the moment, in your daily life, when these things pop up, that you have to, number one, have that awareness. And then number two, are you going to act and be as the person you want to be or the person that you say you want to be? Or are you going to kind of climb back down that ladder into your old programs, into your old lower frequencies, those lower vibrations, lower consciousness kind of state of being? So I thought that I, would just come on and share this with you guys because I've been doing this work for quite a while now, and this shit still comes up for me too. So it's a journey. It takes time. Be gentle with yourself, be compassionate with yourself, and be compassionate with others. Because when you can show compassion, you can be in a space of I don't know what this person has gone through. I don't know what they have experienced. I don't know their story. I don't know what they're currently working on within themselves, or what things they might not even know are going on within themselves. And compassion to me is just such a lovely energy, a lovely emotion, a lovely frequency to be in. It's hard sometimes. It can be hard to practice that. That's why I say it's a practice. But, you know, you can get there. If I can get there, you can get there. And that's not to say you won't have moments of just frustration with people or being angry with someone. That's not to say that at all, but you can hold space within yourself for more than one thing at a time. So you can be angry or frustrated with someone, but still have compassion for them, right? It doesn't have to be one or the other, because we do still need to, as you guys know already, we need to feel our way through those quote unquote lower vibration, quote unquote negative emotions in order to let them just release. Otherwise, they become suppressed emotions layer up. Time and time again, they build up, they cause issues down the line, right? So to flow through, to let myself feel that frustration, to let myself feel pissed off at this person who, was trying to call me out as a fraud and just not being very kind in my opinion when I was doing my best to be kind. We got to let ourselves feel all that stuff so that it can just move on and not sit within us. So I think I'll leave it at that for today. Those of you who are watching, who are here from Unified, thank you for being here. I just want to also let everyone know, or remind you, if you already know, this Sunday, October 24th at noon, Saskatchewan time, I'm doing a free group energy healing on Zoom. Feel free to join. If you want the link, you can, I'll put my email, my contact information, how you can find me. I'll put that in the description of the podcast episode, the YouTube video, et cetera, et cetera. You can get a hold of me. Don't hesitate to just shoot me a quick email or a quick message on Instagram or Unified or wherever, and I will send you the Zoom link, and you can come and join us on Sunday. We are going to be, right now my intention is for us to focus on cleansing and releasing and shifting density within the body, which is just like that heavy stuck energy. And when we do that, we can then just rise up, we can expand, we just feel a little bit lighter. We're upgrading, we're up leveling. So that's my intention right now, but things do shift, especially even as I start doing this session. Who knows what we might get into. So please join us for that. I really hope to see you there. And I will leave it at that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. As always, I'm so grateful that you are interested in what I have to say. If this episode helped, if previous episodes have helped, let me know. Reach out, because I love to know, as you guys know, I love to know that the content that I'm putting out there is at the very least reaching you. And if it helps, if it shifts something within you, if it resonates, that's a bonus. So I'm here for one-on-one sessions, mentorships, et cetera, as well. You can book those at any time. And now, I promise, I will leave it at that. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.